So yeah, so I think the theme around this denim stories is since Roger and Josefina, husband and wife team for City Workshop Men's Supply Company. Um, a lot of discussion is going to be around inspiration between what they created in a men's shop and how they created it, being together. Tara and I were husband and wife team as well, and so it's just nice to see other people who are you getting on there? Other married couples doing their thing together. So we're looking for some good.
Why does that keep happening? Oh man, we're back again, and it's like it's still like low for us. I don't know why. And then I took it off of Wi-Fi and just went with my 4G.
Right. So you could hear us good before you went, like before you connected.
I could hear you well before we like got in the video.
Okay.
But it's like I could hear just a little.
Well, we can. I mean, we can
Let me see.
You can hear
I'm
us.
trying to think of what other. It's definitely something on our end because when I'm not in, I can hear you
perfectly. Right.
Yeah, we could hear you.
Where did that document go?
The page.
Matt. I see all our peeps checking in too. I really want to get to it.
Hi, Matt.
We're telling everybody.
Well, let's do this. You can hear us well, right?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
Okay, so I'll put my ear close to the to the video when you ask a question, and then we can just talk because we can. So I know you were giving a little intro.
Yeah.
And
can you see the comments coming in? Can you see?
I'm sorry, I put my big ear on the video. I think they're all clean. All right, go ahead.
Can you see the comments coming through? Because I can type the questions from my profile to you.
I do see the comments coming through.
Okay. Let me go on my profile.
Okay.
I see our boy Matt asking us, what up? What up, Matt? We see you.
Hi, Matt. What did she ask?
We're just gonna adapt, and then so Tara's gonna type the questions. If you can't, she's gonna type the questions on from her profile.
Okay, that works. So I can see everything. So Tara's gonna type the questions, and we'll be able to answer the questions there.
Perfect.
We're just gonna adapt
teamwork
and make this happen. That's right.
I better put my glasses on.
Come on, man. Y'all look good together, though.
Thank you. Yo, Eric, what's up, man? See you out there.
Hi, Eric.
All right.
Let's get started. A little technical difficulties.
All right, so that's Tara right
I'm going to read everything I see.
Oh, God.
So everybody else can hear. So we're going to kind of talk it as well as Tara typing it. And so we always start denim stories off with an introduction on who we're interviewing, who we're chatting with, where you're from, what you represent, and kind of like your brand or your I guess your passion. And in this instance, we're talking to you about City Workshop Men's Supply Co. And so we just kind of want to know what that is and who's behind it first, as an intro.
Post.
All right.
So I heard some of that. And I think from there we can probably get started.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Okay. Go ahead, babe.
So I grew up in the Bronx, Grand Concourse or Fordham Road, the DN4 line, not the JLo number 6 line.
And where D-Nice is from.
And I moved to Jersey City, and I've been living in New Jersey ever since, after I graduated from school.
Right.
I was born and raised in Jersey City, so Jersey City is like a microcosm of New York, so it's really close. I worked most of my career in the financial industry in the city, and that's basically where we met, working at one of the financial firms in the city, DTCC. And my background is in mutual funds, and my wife's is in IT. And that's basically where we met in the city.
Awesome, awesome. And
What's the question?
so if you can hear me, I don't know. So why the switch? Why the switch from mutual funds and IT to
I've been working in the financial industry for 20 plus years, and by the time I got to Josefina's reading the question.
Oh, I'm really trying to read the question.
I worked in the corporate industry for a lot of years, and it just got to a point where I just wanted to do something else. And to make a long story short, throughout my career, a lot of people would say to me, "Hey, I like the way you put your clothes together. I like the way you dress and all that other stuff." And after, tossing around a lot of different ideas about what we were thinking we might want to do, like from a restaurant to starting a t-shirt line, we just kind of narrowed it down to men's clothing. And then from there it was like, what kind of men's clothing? And obviously denim has been around for over 100 years. So that's what we started with. We started with denim.
right,
And
right.
we went from there.
So I'm typing that. Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
So
Focus on denim.
I mean, really thinking about it, we started with denim, one, because again, people have been wearing denim forever.
Right.
And then when I think back to my youth, I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up in the Lee denim days.
Right, right.
And that was always, Lee's, British Walkers, Playboys, mock necks,
Right.
all that stuff like that. So it kind of started with that. And, that's what we used to do. And it was just like, at least for me, everybody was dressing the same, but I wanted to dress the same but look different.
Right, right.
So it was like, if you had a pair of like Lee denim, I'm looking for either black or green or something where I can wear my Lees, but still something a little bit different.
Right.
And that's how I kind of started standing out a little bit from like my boys that I was hanging out with. And I would go like on these missions looking for different things that, again, were the same but different. And I spent a lot of time on the Lower East Side looking for those things down around Delancey Street.
Right.
And people would always want to know, well, where'd you get that from? And
right.
depending on who it was, I would tell them, but a lot of times I kept it to myself.
Yeah. That's good.
So, again, that's how we kind of like started with denim, because denim has been part of the dress for quite some time.
Yeah. I don't know if you can.
And actually, when he came up with the idea of starting a men's store with denim, I was totally on board because I love denim as well. I would always wear jeans, denim dresses, denim skirts, denim tops, and it just felt like a natural way to get into the men's fashion because, I wore denim all the time regardless.
And also, if we seem a little like, we've adopted a new cocktail hour since we've been on lockdown. So it's 8 o'clock here on the East Coast.
Oh, man, it's all good.
We've already been indulgent.
Yeah, we've had a couple of drinks already.
It's all good. This is just a conversation, really, with good people. And I think, I don't know if you can hear me. I think the dope part about it is that it's a husband and wife team kind of talking to a husband and wife team, and it's all about the denim experience, and that's what we love. And so it's just dope to hear your vision and how you created it. I mean, that's it. We just want to know more about the team City Workshop.
So, my wife and I, we've been married. It'll be 16 years this year. And although we had worked in the same company for a lot of years, thank you.
Thank you.
We never worked together before. So needless to say, when we started working together, it was interesting.
Right.
We knew what our strengths were as a couple, in the household, but then in business, it was something different. And I mean, it was a little bumpy, but not as bad as people would think, because every time people would come into the store, they would say, they'd pull me to the side and like, how's it working with your wife?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, it's fine, you know. We don't really have any defined roles, and it helps that we kind of have like the same style in terms of like we curate the shop, so that helps a lot. We have kind of have the same vision from that perspective, but we do have different work.
I guess work styles.
Yeah, different work styles.
Yeah.
So she's really detailed. She's into reading all the fine print, and I'm like, let's just do it. But you know, she's really.
I like to research. I like to research a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
she does a lot of research, but you know, it all works out. Like I said, we don't really have any defined roles, but we run everything by each other. You know, we try to CC each other on every email. And,
Right.
when we meet with different brands and things like that, we both meet with them, and you know, we have our different questions that we ask, and you know, if I'm not thinking about something, she's thinking about it, and vice versa. So it works that way. It's like a nice yin and yang thing.
Right.
And it's I think overall it's been fairly easy. You know,
we really work together well, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
It makes things easier.
Yeah. Yeah, we agree. We definitely agree. It's
We had some questions from people coming in.
What was the first
All right, so
brand
let's,
of denim you bought in the store?
our boy JD is asking us what's the first brand dinner we brought in the store, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
So it's an interesting story, and I don't know if we told you this story, Joe, but before we opened our shop, and we figured out everything that we were going to do, it's kind of funny now when I think about it, but we would go to different stores before we opened, and we would ask ourselves, how do people get all these clothes? Like, how do you, like, we didn't even know how do you get clothes.
right.
So when we finally figured that out, the first brand we actually went to, because I had already owned some of the denim, was Naked and Famous. Because that is a great brand and has a great price point if you're trying to get into salvage denim, and they do a lot of different things.
They're very creative.
Very creative. So Naked and Famous was literally our first brand, but we didn't even have a store.
Right.
And, you know, when we would reach out to different brands, they would say, tell us about your store.
Send pictures.
Send pictures. What other brands do you have? And we were like, man, we're going to have to come up with a creative story because we got nothing.
Right.
And we subsequently told Brandon, who owns Naked and Famous, about this. But we had no store, but we had a living room full of Naked and Famous boxes because they were literally the first brand to give us a chance based on what we told them, because we knew what the vision was.
Wow.
And we knew what we wanted the store to look like. But we just didn't have it.
Right.
But they were the first. And, you know, we had Naked and Famous boxes piled up in the living room for months before we even signed a lease any place.
Yeah.
So that was like
literally before we signed a lease.
that was our first brand.
Wow. Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we still have them. We still carry them now. And the whole company is amazing.
Oh man, I don't know if you see that. Evan from Tannery South,
That's a good story.
he's asking, how did you select a location? How did you select a location for
Advice
shop?
for young designers.
How do we? So our first location, we were actually in our hometown where we live now, in West Orange, New Jersey. Again, where we live is, for those who might not know how New Jersey is as it relates to New York, we're like right in the tri-state area. So a lot of people that live in Jersey where we are, a lot of people work in the city. When I say the city, I mean NYC.
Right.
Yeah.
So West Orange is, again, one of those towns that people commute to the city, and that's actually what we did. We commuted to the city. And one of the, I guess, high-profile towns in New Jersey that's near us is Montclair. A lot of people move from New York City to Montclair, New Jersey, and that's where we initially wanted to open up our shop. And that place, in terms of rent, is like crazy expensive. And we did secure a place there right on one of the main streets, which is Church Street.
Right.
And when we started thinking about it, the cost of build out and trying to buy things, we were just like, this is way too much. So again, to make a long story short, Josefina, she had an idea about what she wanted the shop to look like. And we found one, well, she found one right on our main street here in West Orange.
Yeah.
And although West Orange is not the typical place where you would find a shop like ours, we took a chance, and it seemed counterintuitive because there wasn't a lot of foot traffic, but it had a lot of driving traffic. Right. So a lot of people, when they are commuting, either coming home or going to work, they have to come through West Orange. And so we were able to get a lot of traffic based on people just driving by our store. And our store it kind of stood out like a sore thumb because we had a lot of reclaimed wood on the outside. It just looked different than anything else that was there. So we would have people just pull over and said, I saw this store. I don't know what it is, but I had to pull over and come and see it.
Hi, Sharon. Look, Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
And
just saying hi to our peeps.
And then, you know, as we were there, slowly but surely, a lot of people started coming into the shop. And I mean, people would come from all over because we sold things that either they heard about or read about, had never seen before, or they just couldn't find it locally. I mean, as far as the brands that we carry. And it just so happens that a lot of people would come to the store from another neighboring town called Maplewood, which is where we're located now. And a lot of the guys would come in and say, boy, I wish you guys would move to Maplewood. And it just never clicked for us like that, even though we would go to Maplewood to eat because they have like a beautiful downtown area. And again, because these stories could be really long, I'll make it short.
No, not good.
A space opened up, and once we saw the space in Maplewood, it was almost like something just clicked. It was like a no-brainer. And, you know, we moved to Maplewood. Like, so we opened the store in West Orange in 2015.
Right.
And we moved to Maplewood
July of 2019.
July 2019.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, it was, and it still is, it's fantastic. And I mean, everybody who had already come to the shop, they followed us to Maplewood, and it was just like, it just felt like a hand in glove. So Maplewood is the place to be.
Dope.
Excuse me.
No. It's nice to hear your process and your thought process when you guys have, like, the way you guys go about developing a vision and how you lean on each other. Like, that's inspiring, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
What do you say?
So
elevate the shop.
Can you hear me,
Charles? Thank you.
No problem. Can you hear me? So what's your biggest challenge as business owners, especially now with COVID-19?
Cocktail hours.
I mean, as far as the biggest challenge now is obviously that we can't be open.
Yeah.
We really, I mean, we're in business to make money, but I mean, we really miss the people.
Yeah.
People is
we miss everyone.
Yeah, it's
so badly.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard. This is like a byproduct that I did not anticipate when we opened the store, because coming out of business, you go into business opening up a business, but I did not anticipate meeting so many like people that I would like.
Right,
you know,
right.
We meet so many cool people, and it's just fantastic. And when I worked in the financial industry, one of the things they used to say that the street is small. And I'm finding the same thing in this industry, that this industry is small, especially in this niche that we're in with the denim and things like that. And, you know, and now with Instagram, you like talk to people on Instagram and then you meet them in person. It's just like, it's so
Community is everything.
no doubt. So missing the people is like one of the hardest things besides not being able to.
Hey, Factory 87 from Montreal.
Oh yeah. So
Hi.
we meet people from all over.
That's awesome.
So not seeing the people has been one of the hardest things. But from a business perspective, you know, with small businesses, what I realized, especially when we first opened, the biggest thing is cash flow.
Yeah.
Cash flow is, I can see how a good business can fail because you have a couple of bad weeks, you know, that could be the end of everything.
Right.
So, I mean, that is probably the biggest challenge. I mean, the way I talk about it in terms of when people come to the shop, like I don't sell anything. I just tell people about it. So like the business aspect of it from that perspective is not really hard at all.
Right.
I just know that when Josephina and I curate products, we put our all into what we're looking at. And, you know, as much as Josephina lets me, I try to get every piece of clothing that bring into the store so I can actually have some real world experience with it.
Right, right.
And yeah, so that part of it, I feel like, well, I know I don't have a job. I don't have a job.
Right.
You know, this is like a privilege.
Yeah.
To go into the shop every day and dust
do
things off.
That we like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Visual merchandising and speaking to the customers and.
Yeah, but like you said, the challenges right now is just trying to find a way to, you know, we have a lot of product on standby for spring, summer, and still things that we want to introduce to our clientele, and it's kind of sad because we know all the things that we looked at and you know, some fantastic pieces that people might not even get a chance to see.
Right.
And it's just trying to figure out how do we handle that going forward, because it's like a trickle down effect. Like if we don't get something, then it's going to trickle down to the brand, and then I don't know how it's just, we're like in a whole new world, just trying to figure out like what's next.
Yeah.
But we're trying to stay positive, and I know that we'll get through this, all of us. And it's just a matter of time. So we just have to be patient.
Yeah.
And just keep positive.
Yep.
That's the main thing.
I agree. They
answered most of it.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they really
Someone
did.
asked a question though. What's been the biggest?
The baby has a question.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest lesson so far in running a business?
The question was, what's been the biggest lesson? You said, babe.
Lesson so far in running the business.
What's been the biggest lesson so far in running the business?
The question?
The biggest lesson so far in running a business.
So, like hindsight, like you know, if you knew then what you know now, you know, what would that be? What would you tell someone who's going into business?
What if we knew then what we know now? What would we tell? So, so it's that's an interesting question, because the way I feel about it, we've discussed it a lot, is if sometimes it's better not to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when you know too much, it'll stop you from doing things.
Yep.
Yeah.
And before we opened the shop, you know, we would talk to a lot of people. Wherever we traveled to, we would go to different stores and talk to the store owners who were very open about, you know,
their experience.
Yeah. And then we even had some people who tell us, man, I don't think you should do it. You need to rethink this. Mm-hmm. And what we did was like whatever they told us in terms of like what could go wrong, we like figured out, okay, how do we answer that? So I would. And then the other thing too is for us, which I think is very important, because we were people of a certain age and we worked a long time. We had a certain amount of finances that helped us, you know, in the beginning.
Right.
So first and foremost, finances is
It's critical.
critical.
Yeah.
So I would tell people to make sure you get your finances together. I mean, I don't know what we would have done if we were a lot younger and we had $0, and I don't even know what that scenario would have been like. I don't think it would have happened. I really don't know. But what I try to tell people is our experience. Like, our part-time team member that works at the store. He's in college, and he actually just interviewed us for a paper. And like one of the things came up about, and I try to preface this by saying, what we did is not for everyone, and everybody can't do it the same way.
Right.
But he asked us that we write a business plan, and the answer to the question was no. We didn't write a business plan, and we didn't let that stop us.
Right.
Because we didn't have a business plan. We had a plan in our head.
Right.
We just never like wrote it down. Everything was like moving so fast. And I think in essence, if we go back and look at my marble notebook where it all started, I mean, there's a business plan in there, but it wasn't an official business plan.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tell a person, write a business plan if you can.
If you don't have one, don't let that
stop you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I would read things, it made it seem like if you didn't have a business plan, you couldn't
start a business.
You couldn't start a business.
And that's not true.
And that's not true.
Because literally it's going to be 5 years, May 5th.
Wow.
That, you know, we initiated our LLC. So it'll be 5 years without a business plan.
Wow.
Yeah, by the way, our business, our LLC's name is Bronx Jersey LLC. So we try to represent
doing business as.
I mean, there's so many things, and then I think it's different for us too, because we had worked in the business.
Hi, chat. Sorry.
We worked in the business world for so long. Like, I've also felt like I know there are things that I don't know about what we're doing, but I know I'm not the first person to do this. Like, there may have been like some sort of calculation that I was trying to figure out as it relates to the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I wouldn't be the only person trying to figure this out. So it's out there. I just had to find out what it's called and where it is.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So especially today, I mean, I think anything you want to know, you could go to YouTube. You could find out how to do anything.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess getting back to the original question is I would just first and foremost tell a person, like, listen, you really want to be fully vested in what you're doing. And like for example, we
That's the advice for young designers.
for example, we thought about opening a restaurant, and we went to visit a woman who had a restaurant, and we walked through her day, and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
This is like work.
Yeah.
You know, so I knew that wasn't going to be something I could sustain.
Right.
So it's like you got to make sure you have passion for what it is you're doing so you could sustain during those hard times, you know?
So there's a question. The question was best advice for young designers.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Well, I'm not a designer. That would be a question for Charles.
Yeah, we're not really designers
Yeah.
at all. But the thing that we do have is that we really know what we like. So when we see something that we like, we're sure of that,
Right.
even though we're not designers. So if a designer creates something and it happens to speak to us, then we'll be 1,000% behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing with us,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we agree too.
But yeah, that's a question for Charles, the best advice for young designers.
We agree with you, really, and also just to add to the design aspect of it, like you're not here to please everybody. Like, you have a certain niche, and whatever your brand is going to be, whatever that vision is for that brand, you tackle that head on and don't turn back. And that's what you design. That's your piece. You know, you can't try to please the masses.
Smack. You curate with limited runs. How do you decide how many pieces you will bring in? Good question.
Yeah, that's good.
How we decide is how obscure the piece is, for lack of a better term. If it's like something that's like highly designed, we just do a size run. But if it's something that's basic that you could wear season after season after season, we still do minimal runs. It might be 6 to 8 pieces. And then depending on the brand will determine what sizes we bring in. So for example, Matt, in your case, because you're familiar with brands that we sell like 316, Rogue Territory, we'll probably bring in more pieces because we know we'll sell a lot of that online because there's going to be a lot of people looking for it. But things that are a little bit more obscure, we try to limit it, especially where we are in Maplewood. Even though a lot of people congregate in town, they go other places, but we also, that's another component as far as how we, how we bring in pieces, because we don't want everybody walking around town with the same thing on.
Right.
So we have to figure out what pieces do we think we'd sell online versus what pieces we think we're going to sell, at the brick and mortar, and try to figure it out that way. And it's also interesting because we met this guy this past season when we were doing the shows. Well, actually at a showroom, and this guy, he's been in business for like 30 years. I forgot where his store was.
I think California.
California?
Yeah. And
he was at the showroom, and he was pulling pieces, and he had them on a rack, and he was like, 1 2 2 1 2 2 2 1. He just was like going through, and he had it like down pat. And I'm like, how do you know? And I guess after you do something for a while, you just know what to do, and he knew what to do. I'm hoping to get to that point.
Yeah.
How do we assist women who love men's heritage pieces? Good question.
Yeah, man.
You know what? It's kind of interesting. We curate, and then the women come in and they select the pieces.
Yeah.
They just like, I like that.
Yeah.
And they buy it. We actually have a lot of women that shop at the shop. And
I also wear the pieces. I have all the shoes that we have. I have the Red Wings, the PF Flyers, the Bluntstones. Mm-hmm. I wear a lot of the tops, and the ladies come in and they try them on and they wear them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's real good. I don't think that was it.
I'm not ready.
Does Japan do it better than America?
Whew,
that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if I could speak for all brands, but what I could tell you is, how can I say that? Because there's a overlap.
Yeah.
Because in Japan, the fabric is fantastic.
Right.
And
they have the machines.
Yeah.
They have the machines. But say, for example, a brand like Freenote cloth out of Cali, they use all Japanese fabric, but the way that they put the fabric together, it's dope.
Right.
It is. But I think Japan probably has some of the best actual denim that they weave.
Yeah, the indigo.
Yeah. But
and plus,
again, it depends on the brand.
Japan is. I think they're at like what's the word? They're like at their peak right now with excitement, like because they with the shuttle looms and everything that they're using, the machines and all that, like they learned from the American way a long time ago. But the challenge is with Japan is I think that all the older generation who know how to fix the machines, who know how to like do everything with the shuttle looms, like they're dying right now.
Mm.
You know, and so a lot of the young people, like they're not hip to like what's going to go down if all this heritage just goes away. And Japan is trying so hard to keep that up. Where as America, and this is just my opinion, as America, we're kind of just up in the air, like, oh well, you know, I don't know what to do, type thing. You know, cone closed. You know, so you know, what are we gonna do? Who's gonna be the next American heritage, like a legacy, if you will, type thing, to carry on that name that Levi's created, or you know, Lee and Wrangler and all that.
Yeah, it's well, Charles was saying that, you know, with no more denim mills, well, not big denim mills here in the US, that is going away. And then the other thing in Japan is that some of the older people, the craftsmen, are passing away. So who's going to carry the torch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, after all this that's going on, maybe some people will get inspired to start making more things here, manufacturing more things here in the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
there's like, I mean, I don't know. It's like there are a few mills here. I think there's a mill in Pennsylvania that does some salvage denim. Like I know
Italia mills or something.
it's like Red Lion, I think it is. And that's where Glenn's Denim, they get their salvage made for them. I don't know if anybody new is gonna come out with anything, or if the Japanese mills might just shrink. Because, like, say for example, like Tellison, they only had used cone mills denim now, and now they're going through that process where they're now getting their denim from Japan, and they're pretty much done with all their cone mills, so they went to Japan because there was no place else to go.
Right.
Please put questions in the Q&A. How much time was there between the idea and opening the shop?
Literally 9 months.
9 months.
I was at my desk at Morgan Stanley.
Wow.
In January. I was literally just looking at it a couple of days ago, looking at my initial notes.
We were looking at the book. Yeah, this week.
Well, is that true? Like, we had been thinking about something for a while, for like a couple of years.
Yeah, we thought about maybe creating a t-shirt line. So we had a friend that graduated from FIT, and we were just asking her, how do we start a t-shirt line? And it was so funny because then when we opened the store, she said, remember you guys asked me about starting a t-shirt line, and then you ended up opening a store with everything in it? Like, how does, you start from a t-shirt line to a men's shop? And we just were like, I don't know. We just figured, let's do the whole thing. Let's do it. Let's get the guys all dressed.
Yeah, but it was like January 2015, I started writing in my notebook, and by September, I was putting in my resignation. And I was just like, I'm leaving to open up a men's store. And I just remember all my coworkers looking at me like, what? You're leaving to do what? And I just remember sitting at my desk and people like, I'd look up and look at people, and people be looking over at me like, this guy. Like, so from January to September. And it didn't really get real until July when we signed our first lease.
Yeah.
And that's when it was like, this is happening.
Is real.
This is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's dope. Any more questions?
There are some, but I couldn't.
Oh, yeah. I was just looking for some more questions real quick before we close it out. All right, so we'll do one more. You want to take this one first?
Denim wash or don't wash?
See,
Eric, I wash his denims. I wash his denims. I wash them.
I try not to wash them. Was that? No. I try not to wash them unless I absolutely have to. Like I have my denim spray and all that other stuff like that. But I mean, basically, and I'm sure Eric knows this, the people, they, I mean, the only reason why you don't wash them is if you're just trying to get those crazy nice fades. And you get the crazy nice fades if you don't wash them, you know, for a long period of time where you get to live in them. Don't wash out the indigo.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, they'll ask me, should I wash them or not wash them? I'm like, listen, you do what you want. There's no rules here.
Right.
Matt,
Right.
Matt, we don't dry them. We just hang dry them.
Yep.
No, we don't dry them.
No, never dry
Just air
them.
dry. That's
Just
what
air dry.
That's what everything.
Yeah.
Somebody said, do you keep track of
I
washes?
saw Evan. Yeah. Yeah.
Not really.
I do.
Wash when stinky.
And hang dry.
That's about right. Like I tried to wear a pair of jeans for as long as I could, and then we went to a restaurant and they got smelly, so I had to wash them.
Inside out. Yes, Chad. Inside out.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how you wash them.
So Charles hardly ever washes them. That's why we have antibacterial denim spray.
Tara's saying that I never wash mine. Like I try to go at least 6 months to a year, you know, between washes. But I'm also rotating a lot of denim, you know, and so, and you know, she knows my favorite is just to go to the beach and wash in the ocean.
Wash them in the ocean. Is that what you said?
Yeah, man, that's my favorite. That's my favorite place to wash them.
On the beach.
You guys are in Chicago, right?
Yep.
Oh, so you have the lake.
So
The big lake.
Yeah,
That's like an ocean.
Yeah. So Costa Rica, washed
Nice.
them in the
He washed
Atlantic,
his jeans in
you
Costa
know,
Rica.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Washed
Forget
them in
about
nice.
forget about Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
So who is this person? This person says, tell Charles I said wash when stinky.
Oh, that's
Big
that's,
denim, big
Big
dude
Mike.
denim.
That's Big
Charles,
Mike.
did you see that?
Yeah, I saw
Tara,
that.
did you see that?
Yeah. I just put them out in the garage and let them just hang dry a little bit when it's
The
like,
ocean.
you know, when it's damp.
Chad
You know?
was like, the ocean?
Yes. Yeah, the ocean
In
salt
salt water.
So here's
You're gonna have my peeps down at the Jersey Shore walking on the beach in denim.
they're gonna be at Cape May washing denim all on the strip. And
Salt
so
doesn't eat them. Salt doesn't eat them.
no, it doesn't. So you wear them into the ocean, you get them wet, soak them real good. You go to the sand and you scrub them. That's kind of like the machine washing them, if you will. That's the information from the salt. And then you just let it sit for a minute if you feel like it, and then you go back into the ocean. You rinse all the sand away. You take your denim off, and then you let them bake in the sun to dry.
Interesting. Sounds like a process. That's going to require a few drinks.
Yeah.
Have your beer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks, Big Mike.
Yeah. Well, man, but we appreciate you too. I mean, because we can keep this conversation going. We don't want to hold you, take your evening from you. This is great content. We love the conversations. We got to continue this. So when COVID lifts all the shelter in place and everything, we got to make our way to your shop, Tara and I, so we can definitely fellowship.
Most definitely, man. I mean, this is good because, you know, Josephine and I have been talking, and, you know, when we're in the shop, it's more personable. You know, we talk to people. It's easy to talk to people, but it's not. We're not used to just being here, like, you know, on Instagram Live talking to the folks out there. So it's good practicing,
Good stuff,
like
Yeah.
you know, getting the fellowship with our people.
Yeah.
You know, so we might need to do this as well, just to, you know, reach out to folks, because this is great, and I'm thankful that you reached out and asked us to participate.
Yeah,
And,
we so appreciate that, Charles and
no.
Tara.
Yeah,
we so
yeah,
appreciate it.
No,
Most definitely.
appreciate you guys.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, man, y'all have a good evening. What we're gonna do is we're like 2 weeks behind. We record the live series. We download it to our camera roll, and then we post it on YouTube. So that way people can continue to see this conversation. They can continue to be inspired by your words and your story, and just continue to just create community. So thank you for that, Roger and Josefina.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate it.
And thank you for everyone that came to join.
Yeah.
Most
There's
definitely.
about 12 people on, so we want just to say hello, goodbye, keep safe, stay home, and we'll get through this.
Yeah.
We're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, no doubt. So with that, I guess it's time for a little Netflix and chill.
Yeah, we're going to Netflix and chill. Yeah.
And
all right, y'all.
again, we appreciate you guys.
Thank you so
Have a good
much.
night.
And the baby is adorable.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. What was the last? Was there more you spoke about?